Hi, good morning, and welcome back to Insurance 101 by Trusted Capital. This morning, I want to talk about vacant land coverage, and not only vacant land coverage, but also a builder's risk policy. So let's start with the vacant land. So basically, this whole I want to say conversation or this whole segment came about because my girlfriend and I are looking to actually do a project for our community. So we're deciding on if it's better to basically buy a piece of vacant land. And of course, she asks, well, in the event that you buy a piece of vacant land and decide to build on that, how would that be covered? And of course, I guess she asked me due to the fact that this is what I have done for the last 15 years, or actually more. God, I just stopped at 15. But this is what I've probably done for about 19 years of my life, which has been insurance. So to start off with, when you have a piece of vacant land is automatically covered for liability only. What you would do is you would call your whoever carries your homeowner's insurance or your renter's insurance policy. You would call them and actually give them the lot information, and then they would then take the liability that you currently have on your current policy and extend it from your primary residence, which would be where you're actually living now, to this piece of vacant land. Now, we were debating on whether we were going to actually decide to get a piece of vacant land and build on it, or if we were going to actually take this particular location that we saw, which I loved the square footage of, and basically I want to say do a full interior gut, or where in the insurance industry, if you decide to gut the interior and leave the exterior, but I thought that maybe we should take it all the way down to the studs and then build up. So then at that point, of course, you can't have a regular homeowner's insurance policy on that for the simple fact that no one is living there. And most people automatically think that when they are having a home that is built for them, that their materials and things of that nature would be covered underneath the contractor. So that is actually false. What you need to make sure is that you carry something called a builder's risk policy, and this builder's risk policy would actually cover you while that home is underneath the course of construction. So a builder's risk policy, it basically would provide you with the liability coverage and then also cover your building materials. So you might say to me, well, what are my building materials and why would I have to cover them if they're in the care, custody, and control of the contractor? What it is that as soon as you actually purchase those tangible items, they now become your items. Now, let's say that you now have these items and they're actually on that land that you're planning on building on, and then they get stolen. So this is why I always say to my insureds, you have to be responsible for your own things. Yes, you automatically want to get certificates of insurance from the people that are actually building your home in the event that they're liable for something that goes wrong while the home is actually being constructed. But your building materials are actually your responsibility. So I wanted to say that a builder's risk policy alone does not typically cover liability for accidents and for injuries on the workplace. So sometimes you do need to have a standalone liability policy in order to make sure that is covered. So I want to go over some of the exposures that a builder's risk policy might cover. So please forgive me because again, I don't write a lot of builder's risk policies. I know where to actually obtain and abstract the information, and then I write it down for even myself. So I go back and refer to my notes. But a builder's risk policy is designed to protect construction sites from loss and damages, while the exact coverages and limitations between the providers and comprehensive builder's risk policy may offer coverage for theft of vandalism, and as additional coverage, including but not really limited to windstorm, earthquake, ordinance of law. So ordinance of law, again, is when you actually now are building upon that piece of land, and you have to now bring that piece of you have to bring your property, whether it be the wiring, the plumbing, whatever it is, up to code for the town. So that is what your builder's risk policy would cover. Now, I've had it where also when we actually sit down and start to write these policies, the first thing is we say, what do you think that the home will be worth once the home is completed? Because that's what a builder's risk policy is basically going to be covering. What the amount in the event that something happens to that home while it's actually being constructed. So it's a home in the course of construction. So I'm just going to throw out a number. So let's say that my idea for building this house, well, my idea for actually building this location that my girlfriend and I are in the process of doing, I at first said, let's do I said maybe about 300,000. So she actually went ahead and looked it up and said to me and started laughing, talking about the square footage on the square footage on a home of 2,000 some odd feet is not going to give you $300,000, Asia. You might want to wake up and smell the coffee, which she is right, due to the fact of the place that we are, the location that we are building in. And I'm very proud of her because I actually taught her this, and she took that information and she was able to do the numbers for me. So I love you, girl. So anyway, so we at the end of the day figured out that once this home is done, up and constructed, it will probably cost about 400 to 500, about $500,000, really, not even $400,000. I'm going to tell you, it's probably going to be about $500,000 once this thing is finished being constructed for us. So at that particular point in time, I would then insure for the 500,000, and that's exactly how they would write that policy. So in the event that anything happens, now sometimes when you're actually, I have had insureds who have actually gutted a home, who came to me and the home was already worth $1 million, and now here it is, he gutted that home and made it into a $5 million home. But as the project was going on, I had to keep increasing the value of it. So every I want to say every couple of weeks, every couple of months, depending on how much that they've actually gone ahead and finished on that project, is basically how much I would increase that building coverage for. So I want to just say, again, I want everyone to always check with your local agent, your local broker, because insurance is all regulated by the state. The only thing that is regulated by the government is going to be your flood insurance policy, and now we even have private markets for that. So just make sure that when you're doing anything in regards to your insurance, you check the rules, the regulations with your state, with your town, with your county, to make sure that they are legit. Again, I do insurance in the state of New York. Yes, I do have hold a license in many other states that I can write in non-residential licenses, I like to call them. So if you have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and leave me a comment. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and then leave me a comment again if you definitely have a question about any of your insurance. And please don't forget to share this video if you found it helpful and informative to you. And I want to say thank you so much for all of my subscribers who have already been with me from the beginning when I first started this a couple of months ago up until now, and all my new people that will be subscribing, and to all my viewers, and to my old viewers and my new viewers. I just want to say thank you very, very much. And thank you so much once again for watching Insurance 101 by Trusted Capital. Have a blessed and wonderful weekend.